Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another step on the journey to going through figuring out what's about this plagiarism controversy surrounding Walt Brown and other organizations. And Pastor Kevin Lee, in our last talk, he was sending his email out to everybody, asking them to correct it. It's going to be posted on his website, and he was asking for correction and letting them know what's happening. And he sent it out certified mail. He emailed them. And he sent it about, I don't know, 5 or 6 people, and nobody responded, but AIG responded to this one. And so what's the response going to be? What do you think? Are they going to say, thank you for pointing that out to us? We are going to get everything straight so that the truth prevails. Or are they going to try to justify what's going on? Just what do you think is going to happen? Okay, excuse me. I'll show you again. Once again, we will show you how to get these documents. We are going to show you how to go in there and start there. Just go into hydroplate.org, hydroplate, hydroplate.org. And then you're going to see hydroplate resources. Oh, and let's show you a little bit about this site. You know, there's different videos and different places, and you can also do some shopping, go in a store, get some merch if you want. And this would be really fun. Speaking of which, if you don't cut, yeah, you guys don't cut. You go into the shirt, and maybe you want to get this shirt, the Dry Earth. Okay, how about this one right here? Okay, a One Earth shattering event can explain all that stuff. Where's the front of it? Okay, let's look at these. Oh, they all show the backs. I want to see the front. Oh, well, because they got all NASA scientists work for Walt Brown in there somewhere. But anyhow, that's what's on the website. So that's the website. You don't need that. Get rid of that. And we'll go back to the hydroplate. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to go into hydroplate.org. And we're going to jump in. What do you think that AIG is going to do? They're going to respond to Pastor Kevin Lee, who is making allegations of plagiarism in their museum. So I don't know if you saw what I did right there. Hydroplate.org, go into hydroplate resources, go down to hydroplate controversy, then go up to the top and hit hydroplate timeline. And it's a lot easier getting the documents in the chronological order up here. It's a little bit confusing on the other side where it says documents. And so what have we been doing? I think we've been making our way through here. Let's see, is that about right? Grand Canyon, 2008. Let's see, let's take a look at this. June 2006, 2008, helping or hindering. Yeah, where are we at? Helping or hindering. Yeah, we got up here. Email from ICR, Lee's response to, we'll just jump in there. Response to Holroyd we did. And we also did ICR to Lee, Brown's 8th edition. We did Henry Morris correspondence, Lee and Whitcomb and Vardaman. Vardaman's got 2 for whatever reason. Robinson, John Morris we've done, and Holroyd we've done, and Lee and Ford we just did. Now this I think is going to be it. Yes, correspondence history between Lee and AIG. All right, so here we go. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I like seeing the letters themselves. Okay, here we go. Correspondence history between Pastor Kevin Lee and Ken Ham, CEO of AIG, pertaining to Pastor Kevin's July 6, 2009 letter documenting Steve A. Austin's plagiarism and poor science being featured in AIG's museum. Now, this Pastor Kevin Lee, he has spent so much time and so much effort emailing all these people, meeting with them personally, calling them on the phone, and now he's sending a letter to Ken Ham. And this, could you imagine Ken Ham? Imagine this coming across your desk. Okay, July 6, 2009. Dear Ken Ham, I have attached a preliminary letter that I believe requires your careful attention and response. It documents Dr. Austin's plagiarism of Dr. Brown's work on the Grand Canyon, and more importantly, how its actions have been such a detrimental effect on the creation science movement. You have become involved in this dispute because your museum and other products of AIG are featuring this plagiarized material. My detailed letter to Dr. Mike Matthews on March 14th, 2008, the letter he requested, was ignored. And please read my attached letter to Mr. Matthews to determine if you and AIG still want to stand behind Dr. Austin's plagiarism. This letter proves, using Austin's own words, the serious errors and deceptions that he authored and that your museum is now spreading. I want to give you every opportunity to correct me if I have misunderstood the matter in any way. If you or Austin can provide documentation showing where I have erred, I will make the necessary corrections to the attached letter before posting. If you cannot, and others who are also being solicited for rebuttal and comment cannot, then the attached letter with its attachments will be posted at our website as written. It will also be distributed to about 200 creation organizations with website presence. You may note that some of the links are not yet active, but they will be by the time of actual posting in early August. I encourage you to more carefully research the facts. When you do, I think you will change your stated position. If you communicate to me in a certified letter that your position has been changed based on these facts, I will modify the internet posting accordingly. You may not realize that on May 6, 2008, Dr. Brown sent Dr. Austin a copy of EndNote 34 in Brown's Grand Canyon chapter. Dr. Brown's EndNote 34. This was a month before it was placed in the 8th edition. Brown offered to correct any errors Austin could identify or remove the entire EndNote if Austin publicly corrected the record. Austin ignored his offer. Unfortunately, 30,000 copies of that are now in print, not to mention the internet. Many people are reading it. So let's take a look at EndNote 34. And it talks about let's see if plagiarize is in here. Yeah, here it is. There we go. That the idea is that he'd plagiarized. Okay, so this whole thing is there. Okay, this is the end note that describes the hydroplate and the controversy and who did what on when. And we read this later. We read this before, but I just wanted to you to know that Ken Ham got this information. I will be leaving for Africa tomorrow and will not return until July 25. Feel free to respond now if you wish. Some of my assistants are familiar with the material and may be able to assist you and others that are receiving this preliminary letter. However, some matters may have to wait till I return. Okay, and it was to Pastor Kevin Lee, CC'd Mark Mooney, and Mike Matthews. The following is a letter from Mark Looney. Okay, so Ken Ham got this. Okay, and he must have forwarded it to the letter from Mark Louis of the Answers in Genesis Ministry. This letter was sent via U.S. Postal Service on July 27th as a response to the letter of July 6th, 2009, for the purpose of being able to intersperse comments. Mr. Looney's letter was carefully retyped. The scanned PDF, the original letter, is available here. Okay, there it is. Well, thank you for responding. Good for you. That's commendable, actually. Okay, Pastor Kevin Lee, P.O. Box 151, whatever. Okay, dear Pastor Lee, greetings. In response to your July 6th letter, I point out that I have no issue with either Walt Brown or Steve Austin. If either has a problem with us, then per Matthew 18, we should be approached, and that has not occurred. You have no Matthew 18 standing in this situation. Pastor Lee responds, AiG's museum features plagiarized and false information. AiG markets a video with plagiarized and false information, which I have watched. AiG has marketed to me false information and bad science. I first came to you in March of 2008 with documentation proving that you were spreading false information. Others joined me in writing to you, encouraging you to do what was right. You chose to continue spreading falsehoods. From that time on, AiG knew or should have known that it was spreading plagiarized and false information, as well as bad science to all museum visitors and to those you send your DVDs to. Because of AiG's failure to correct the false statements, plagiarism, and bad science, AiG is now complicit in deceiving tens of thousands of additional people who have attended the museum since then. I do not have standing in accordance to Matthew 18. I have gone to you. Wait a minute. I do have standing in accordance with Matthew 18. I have gone to you. Others have joined me. And now it is posted for all the church to be warned in accordance with Matthew 18. Moreover, the former dispute between Doctors Brown and Austin has already been settled. A joint statement was signed by both parties with mediation help in 1994. At that time, the mediator stated both parties request your prayers and support in their commitment to implement this agreement. Your acceptance of this statement without additional investigation or discussion will be one of the ways you can be of assistance. Emphasis mine. Okay. Okay, this is what Louis says. Right? That's what Louis wrote. Moreover, the dispute has been settled. Okay. Pastor Lee writes, I encourage you to carefully read my July 6, 2009 letter. The facts show that the dispute between Drs. Brown and Austin was supposedly settled in a mediation session held on June 21st, 1994. However, shortly thereafter, Dr. Austin violated the agreement to the mediation. Dr. Austin's unethical actions after mediation are clearly documented in the letter I sent you. I am sure Dr. Austin would prefer that you accept his false statements to you without additional investigation, but all the facts are now posted on our website and many are now able to determine the truth of the matter for themselves. It is likely they will be wondering why you want to continue spreading falsehoods in your museum. If Dr. Austin told you there was a joint statement that was signed by him and Dr. Brown, then I suggest that you ask him to provide you a copy. If I understand the facts correctly, a joint statement was never signed by both parties. If Austin did tell you that one exists but does not provide you with a copy signed and dated by both Austin and Brown, then it will be one more addition to Dr. Austin's many false statements. I will update this response if and when you or Austin provide me with additional information. Okay, AiG responds, or Louis responds, it was proper and ultimately efficacious in 1994 to have an impartial, independent third party be the mediator of the dispute, and the matter has already been settled for both parties. Pastor Lee says, not true, as noted above. Louis says, inserting yourself and reigniting any past differences does not make you a mediator, much less a peacemaker. In addition, you have already drawn your conclusions, even without proclaimed willingness to be open, even with your proclaimed willingness to be open to seeing more evidence, and thus cannot be impartial. Pastor Lee, I am not inserting myself into the dispute. Please read my letter of July 6, 2009, and my letter to Dr. Henry Morris, now posted on our website, which explain how statements made by ICR to me directly and indirectly brought me into an awareness of this dispute. I am not trying to be a mediator, but rather trying to provide a complete and accurate answer to the many questions raised by Dr. Austin's actions with ICR and AIG support. People who visit your museum are shown a Grand Canyon display showing an incorrectly named lake, Canyonlands Lake, properly called Grand Lake by the one who discovered it. They also see an animation of the lake breaching through the Kaibab upwarp without any explanation for how this is possible. 30-mile thick, 2,000-foot high limestone. You advertise Dr. Austin as the Grand Canyon expert, but your expert does not provide a working explanation for how the breach occurred, nor does Dr. Austin provide answers to the many other enigmas surrounding the Grand Canyon. Others are reading Dr. Brown's work, suggest you Google Origin Grand Canyon, where Dr. Brown's web book is the most popular hit out of hundreds of thousands. Those who find Dr. Brown's work read about a properly named lake and get a 38-page scientifically sound explanation for how it breached and carved the Grand Canyon. Doubtless thousands are wondering why there is this conflict in lake names, why Austin provides no evidence or explanation while Brown does. They especially wonder why AIG and ICR do not recognize Brown's work or his contribution to the creation science movement in light of these facts. Our website is dedicated to giving them a straight, truthful answer. That answer includes the exposure of your false displays. I am very sincere in my desire to show additional documented factual information that would remove my concern that Dr. Austin's plagiarism and bad science are featured in the AIG museum. You never provided me with any evidence in our earlier email exchange. Others also have not. The second version of the joint statement, which you allude to above, is not evidence against my concern. I have added the history of this second joint statement into the July 6, 2009 version of the letter I sent you in March of 2008. I do regret that I was not aware of the second joint statement before I wrote the March 2008 letter. The facts surrounding the second joint statement only expose the depths that Dr. Austin was willing to go to cover his plagiarism rather than supporting any rebuttals he makes to you or others. Okay, Louis writes, you've already come up with your verdict, which would disqualify you as a mediator, but that is moot anyway, for the dispute was settled in 1994. Your current efforts notwithstanding, you are attempting to override an established agreement and usurp the role of the 1994 mediator, only fanning the flames and keeping the dispute alive and, sadly, in the public eye. This all begs the question. In light of Matthew 18 and John 13:35, i.e., non-Christians will know us by our public actions of love, and the fact that a settlement was reached in 1994, why have you taken it upon yourself to issue very public postings and mail dozens of letters about an already resolved matter and sully the name of Christ as you keep this matter in the public eye and also dispatch a harsh, unloving spirit? What is your biblical justification for your actions? Pastor Lee responds, the matter was not settled in 1994. You have not been told the truth. The Jesus I serve is the way, the truth, and the life. Those who serve him rather than themselves have a love of the truth and hate all lies. You are spreading falsehoods, which Jesus tells you not to do. Colossians 3:8-9. But now you yourselves are put off all these anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy language out of your mouth. Do not lie to one another, since you have put off the old man with his deeds. I pray for the day you stop deceiving people who come to you for scientific information and instead get Christian fairy tales. Sincerely, Kevin Lee, Pastor, Calvary Church of Port Orchard. CC all who know the facts. Sincerely, Mark Louis, CCO, CC Walt Brown, Steve Austin. Wow. Okay, so that's what the AiG's response is. The next one is going to be, let's see, where are we at? Austin's correspondence history. What that might be interesting. We're going to shut down the, we're just going to do that. We are just going to do the, that was 17 minutes. That's probably the shortest one. That's going to be AiG's response. And it's interesting to see who wants the truth to prevail and who does not. And it's, let's see what the comments are. Blank, no. Right. All right, here we go. So that's what we're doing. And the reason we're doing this is because, again, there's a theory that's making accurate predictions and it's not being presented in AiG's museums. And that's quite puzzling to me. You know, you have a theory, a secular theory that's sped up, that doesn't make predictions, that doesn't have biblical support, that distinguishes it from anyone else. And yet there's a theory out there that does make accurate predictions. It's scientifically viable, and it shows how Grand Canyon formed, among other things. And yet it's being ignored. Why is that? Why is that? And so that's what we're doing. We're allowing people to see the story behind the story about why, you know, why is this theory being neglected? And I think there's an issue here that people don't want to deal with. It's very uncomfortable, rather embarrassing. And so the lie continues to be perpetuated. And so that's what we're doing. So if we want the truth to prevail, if we want a theory that actually makes accurate predictions, that actually does have biblical support to be presented, it's got to be a grassroots movement. And I encourage people to ask questions. You know, why are you promoting a theory that doesn't make accurate predictions? Or even ask, what are the predictions of CPD? You know, what is the biblical support for it that separates it from other theories? Because the hydroplate theory makes accurate predictions, and a lot of makes a lot of predictions, and a lot of them have been confirmed. And so it's just puzzling to me as an outsider. You know, why would a theory that's making accurate predictions not be discussed? So that's where we're at. We'll take a look at his correspondence with Austin, and hopefully there can be some reconciliation here. hopefully the truth will prevail and people will be given the opportunity to think so that they can see two sides, both flood models and come to their own conclusion. And again, there's time for reconciliation. Get this off your conscience before you meet your maker. That's what I hope happens. Everybody who's been stonewalling this or being complicit in this, I hope that they have a change of heart. They realize they're going to give an account to this someday. And there's still time. There's still time to make things right. And so hopefully things will be made right. Hopefully they can work together and have Walt Brown's research gift along with the organization's marketing gift. And boy, we're going to destroy the lies of Satan if we can get this people to mature. There's three levels of maturation. There's dependence, there is independence, and then there's interdependence where you work with others. And when we get to that interdependence phase, that's when we're going to win. Instead of just saying, no, you're not a geologist. We don't want what you have to say, even though you're making accurate predictions. Just leave the geology to us. Let us sell our books. So we want that to fall apart. So again, we're going to see what the correspondence is with Steve Austin. So thanks again for being on this journey. Thank you for your desire for the truth. And may God bless and guide you.